encountered something you couldn't explain?
Ghosts, were they strangers or were they family?
Cryptids, alien encounters.
Strange animal encounters, child spirits.
Whatever your experience, we want to hear about it.
Email your story to WLTK-DB paranormalroom@gmail.com for your chance to share your story on the show. Again, that's WLTK-DB paranormalroom@gmail.com.
We're waiting for your story.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to the Paranormal Room. We are here with Susie from the Adirondack Park Paranormal Society. You are also listening to us on WLTK-DB, Let's Talk Radio. And it looks like Logan is with us. Yes, Logan?
I am. Can you hear me?
I can hear you. Yay,
Hey,
Logan made it.
Woo! All right.
All right. So,
Finally something goes right.
well, you sound good. You sound great.
Thank you.
So, I just wanted to do a few announcements here real quick. I just have a couple of things coming up and then some stuff that people need to know about the station. Where'd Logan go? Oh, well, he'll be back. All right. So December 21st, I'm doing an online past life class. There's Logan. That'll be on Zoom.
What happened there?
I don't know. But you can find all of that information on my meetup page at www.meetup.com/onespiritconnection, and just scroll down the events until you see the past life class. Click on that. All of the instructions are in there. December 10th, I will be at the Soul and Synergy Metaphysical Fair at the Rice Lake Elks Club in Rice Lake, Wisconsin. And that winds up my events for 2022. I will still be available to do some online classes on online and phone appointments for psychic readings and, whatever else you can come up with there. And we also have, yes, anyone can take the past life class, Keith. December 19th through the 25th, WLTK-DB. I knew I was going to mess that up. WLTK-DB. I'm looking right at it, and I read it wrong. The station will be closed for a holiday break, so there will be no shows for us on the 19th of December. Logan, I don't know if you got that email or not, but I wanted to let you know that. So the station will be closed, and now it is time for Logan to make announcements. What do you have coming up? Anything fun on your channel?
Ooh, very much so. I've had to go through some unorthodox methods of getting all the files together, but I should have a rather large series coming up where in VR I play a horror survival game called The Island, where you crash land on an island full of cannibals with a mysterious origin. On top of that, for people who are excited about the potential phasmophobia with actual ghost hunters video, my editor heard about that. Well, my second editor, and he bought me as a gift phasmophobia. So we are one step closer to actually doing that.
That'd be great. Yeah, I'm feeling like that's probably going to happen for us in January. What do you think? Think you can
That
pull it
does
together
sound like
that
a
fast?
plan.
Okay.
I mean, it's not an expensive game. It's like $20.
Okay. Our producer says, I have VR. What is that game called?
Ooh, it is called Phasmophobia.
Does it start with a PH or an F?
It starts with a PH, as
Okay.
in fear of spirits, fear of phantasms.
I'm trying to spell it. Phasmophobia. I'm guessing at it, and it may not be right. All right.
You actually got it pretty close.
Did I? Okay,
Yeah.
good. I spelled it phonetically. Yay, phonetics. All right. So that sounds like fun, the Phasmophobia
Yes.
thing. And anything else you have coming up that you wanted to tell us about?
Mainly I've been knee deep in new projects left and right, possibly taking classes at a local college soon.
Nice.
So a lot less time for streaming and recording videos, but I will still try to at least keep up the limping pace that I've been maintaining. For anyone interested in these projects, please pop over to Turtle Island Gaming on YouTube.com. I've been really leaning more into VR content lately, so if you wouldn't mind checking out some of that, let me know what you think in the comments. Leave a like, maybe subscribe if you like it. And
Awesome.
thank you for your time.
Awesome. I know, Susie, we talked about announcements, but there's one we can't make yet. So
No, we can't.
all right. So Logan came up with the topic for tonight, which is penitentiaries and jails and
Yes.
why they are haunted. I mean, I think that's an interesting one. And if anyone wants to jump in on the comments and put in any experiences that you might have touring like a closed jail, or I don't know, do we want to open it up to people who have actually spent time there? We could do that too.
We should definitely do that, but
Okay.
I would like to point out that the bigger question is, why wouldn't a prison be haunted?
You know, that was kind of my question too. Yeah, why wouldn't it be haunted? Yeah. I
I'm
mean,
no
I don't
expert. I've never spent time, so to speak, but I imagine there's some pretty unkind things that happen in a prison.
I was going to say
The perfect kind of things that would result in a haunting.
You know, like when we talked about the hospitals before and the
Yeah.
sanatoriums,
Yes.
about the high emotion, whether it's positive or negative, you have the same thing in jails.
Yes.
Exactly.
So the walls, you know, the buildings hold that emotion. They hold that energy. So
Yeah.
the older the building, the better.
There you go.
Did I that just kind of came out, didn't it?
Yeah, it just kind of did.
You're not wrong, though.
Well, the more people that went through.
Yeah.
Exactly, yeah.
Yeah. Absolutely. Oh, I have these stupid pop-ups. Stop it. Okay. Keith said they're stuck there. They are stuck there in life. Not surprisingly that they're stuck there in death as well.
Yes.
Yeah.
And
When
go ahead.
Go ahead.
Some of these older jails, I mean, it wasn't just for adults. They had children in there too, and sometimes it was mixed. They had a children's ward, a women's ward, and a men's ward. And we'll talk about that further on. But remind me, Keith, about the getting stuck there.
Okay. All right. Logan, what were you saying?
Well, while studying for this subject, it reminded me of an old horror game I used to play in the original Xbox that was apparently based on Alcatraz.
Oh, I don't remember that one.
I played it very briefly. It was not the longest of games, and it doesn't really surprise me that it hasn't gotten a reboot.
Okay.
But
that's a nice way of saying it. Okay.
It was entertaining enough. It laid new ground for more popular titles. For anyone who's curious, it is called The Suffering.
Okay.
But I actually did a project in high school on haunted prisons. I'm really surprised they let me do that project still.
Wow.
But yeah, that Alcatraz was one of the top examples, and that's how I tied in that game, because in one of the special features, there's like a behind the scenes thing of like, oh, this we took inspirations from this haunting at this prison, this haunting at this prison, and just put them all into one game.
Wow.
That sounds chaotic.
It's very chaotic, but it makes for a great horror story. Especially when you're playing as a death row inmate.
I was gonna say you have death row there. You're literally an island.
Yeah.
And what's better conduit? Water.
Yeah.
Right.
It is an island of suffering.
It's an island of suffering. That's it in a nutshell. Absolutely.
Wow. That's incredible. Yeah, and I know that the horror games is a big thing now, and I'm just like, no thanks. I'll be over here playing my little Words with Friends and Candy Crush. Thank you very much. But yeah, it's like I know that it's really become like a huge genre to take horror and turn it into video games. And
Well, and there's also the the intersection of multiple mediums when like there's a horror movie about a horror game.
yeah,
I think it was called Stay Alive. If you die in the game, your actual body dies.
Oh, yes.
did your kids play that one, Susie?
No, but I'm trying to
Well,
think. I know
it wasn't an actual game. It was a movie
Oh,
it
about
was
a
a movie.
fictitious
movie
game.
about a game. Okay.
Yes.
All right. I
Yes.
misunderstood that. I thought there were both. Okay.
I think I may have watched that. That's why I was going. I don't think my kids watched it. They're not. It's funny because they're into all those games, but they are not into horror movies. I sit there and watch them by myself.
You're a brave woman.
Well, horror games are a bit more interactive, so like you're really putting yourself a lot more into the situation of the main character.
Hmm. Yeah, no, they can keep their games. I'll watch my horror movies. In a dark room by myself. Yeah.
There you go. There you go. All right.
Just one
So
little light on.
just about the same time that I joined the Adirondack Park Paranormal Society, you guys went without me because I wasn't there.
I was gonna say, yeah, we banned you from this one. No, I'm
Yeah,
just
you
kidding. No,
banned
we would
me.
have loved to have had you
Yes.
there. We would have loved to.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but it was the Herkimer County Jail.
Yes.
Okay, so fill us in. I know I got to see some of this stuff behind the scenes, but fill us in on some of the things that happened on your investigation.
Well, the jail, as with every other building, that's as old as the jail was. I want to say 1855, but don't quote me on that date. I don't have it in front of me. Um, but it was in its inception. It was a rough place to be, and it was built on the outskirts of a fort, which doesn't exist anymore. The building itself still is there, and they do tours throughout the summer. The local historical society. Actually, that's why we were doing the investigation. Was for the local historical society.
Okay.
And then they turned our results and invited us back to share with the actors from the historical society, and we gave our presentations of our findings and what had happened and different experiences that we had had. It's a 3-story building, and at the time, the sheriff actually lived in the building, and they cooked for the inmates. I hate to call them inmates, but that's what they were. So there's a full kitchen in there with the fireplace type of stove with the bar that's still on it, to bring the pot in and stuff. There was still a large safe for any weapons that were put away. One of the investigators and I kind of were wandering around, and we found some other items that were left in one of the closets from back in the time of I'm going to guess somewhere around the 1800s. I had brought some old iron keys. I had brought an old lantern, and we found another old lantern that was actually specifically from that jail. So we decided to use that lantern instead as treasure objects.
Okay. Hi, Robin. Just shooting that in there quick.
And there was a lady that was its notoriety is for a couple of people that were jailed there, but specifically for Roxana Druce. She was the last woman in New York State to be hung, and that was because her hanging was botched, and it took her 20 minutes to die.
Ugh.
And there were people watching, and it was such it's still, as it is now, there was an uproar. And they were already doing the electric chair in other jails for the death penalty, but they were also still doing hangings. Well, because of her botched hanging, she was so petite, and the people that set up the gallows were not familiar with compensating for the body weight and how they were supposed to put the rope on. That it actually choked her to death. It didn't kill her. He goes, normally when the sandbag
Jeez.
drops, it's a
Ugh.
sudden drop, so it breaks the neck. It did
Right.
break her neck.
Oh.
And so New York State decided after that, that's it. And that poor woman went through hell. I mean, she was an abusive woman. She'd killed her husband, and that's why she was there. Killed him, cut him up, burned him up, threw body parts in the local pond. But eventually they figured out it was her that did it. She did have her kids involved, but they were eventually exonerated after many years. But yeah, and being there on the outside, when I was walking around as they were giving the tour, I kind of left the tour. I'm known for this. I kind of wander off. I felt, the old hemp rope. When you grab it, it feels kind of prickly.
Mm-hmm.
It's twisted. It's the old twisted rope. I could feel prickly on my neck when I was
Ugh.
walking around, and I didn't realize at first why I was feeling it, because my t-shirt was actually down about this level,
Mm-hmm.
and I kept feeling prickly, and I said, well, maybe there's bugs or something, mosquitoes. So I'm going like this, and then it dawned on me, I'm in the back of the jail, which is where the hanging took place. Okay.
There you go. Okay.
So yeah, we made some connections with a few people there that night.
Wow. Yeah, I remember hearing about. Well, I had done some of the research ahead of time for that one because I wasn't going on the investigation, and I had picked up something in the basement or the garage that
Basement.
it was the basement, right, where there was some unauthorized things going on there.
Yeah,
And
and that's actually where we ended up doing. Well, it's the bottom floor. They had
mhm,
at one point New York State was going to close it down because the living conditions were so bad. They didn't have enough. They weren't cleaning the floors, and back then all you had was just a little bucket to pee in.
right.
Um, and they didn't have the ventilation. They didn't have they weren't feeding them. They wasn't being heated properly. So they told them, well, if you don't clean it up, we have to shut it down. So if you look at the pictures now, if you go on Google Earth or whatever and
Mhm.
look at the pictures of the building, you can see where there's little, looks like little windows underneath the major window. Well, the little windows were vents that they had to put in to keep the airflow going.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, they've since blocked those out because they don't need those anymore.
Right.
But in the basement was where we had all agreed, okay, when we do the seance, which is the very last thing that we did, it was going to be in that room. There was something there. Some of our cameras would pixelate when we were taking pictures. We didn't
Okay.
have any of our normal DVR that we normally bring with us. So there was no cables, there was no extra equipment in there. There was no heat in the building. Another one of those investigations that you do and you freeze off. There was no electricity in
Yeah.
that part of the building either. Everything was shut down. There was only one room that we could use to warm up in. Would I go again? In a heartbeat. In a heartbeat.
Yeah. Give me 14 hours notice.
Well, we have made contact with them numerous times, and they haven't said we're invited back, but during the tour that they were having, they had such a positive outcome and positive response from what we did. We may do it again. I don't know if we're going to do it again next year, but they said we'd be invited back to do that again.
Awesome. Awesome.
Yeah.
Keith has a question for Susie. Do you have any
Yes.
ability with psychometry?
I don't. Actually, would you clarify that? Because I don't know if your definition and mine are the same.
I believe he means reading energy from objects.
Okay. It depends. Sometimes I can touch a wall. Sometimes I can touch something, and I'll get what I call almost like it's like a mini earthquake going on in my hand.
Okay.
That I get.
Okay.
But not always. It all depends if I connect to it. If I don't, I don't. Now, one of our other investigators, Sandy, she has the other podcast that we are on the Sandy and Toddcast. she will read energy in a room a lot faster than any of us.
Right.
And um,
Yeah,
I
she's
love
really
watching.
good.
I love watching her work. She
Yeah.
picks up on stuff so quick. Now, when we're together, I will say, our powers are magnified.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and it is. When we did the seance, she helped a little girl that was there. We got the little girl on the SLS camera.
Okay.
First, we thought maybe it was because we had incense going, we had the candles going, um, and we thought maybe it was that. But the smoke went one way and the SLS stick figure went another way. So, okay, it wasn't the
Okay.
smoke that it was reading. We're quick to debunk if we have to, let's rule everything out first.
Yeah.
She was on the table at one point, and then at another point, I didn't see it. I was in the seance. I was looking at the video after. I could feel warmness on one of my legs, and then it went from me to one of our other investigators, Jen. And Jen was talking to her, and she just took to Jen immediately. But you were talking about passing people over.
Mm-hmm.
That's Keith had mentioned that how people will get stuck there. Um, we believe again, from what we could gather, because the stick figure did eventually disappear. We believe Sandy did pass her through the
Okay.
wall. We called on Archangel Saint Michael, and we didn't feel her in the room. We didn't hear the pitter patter of her feet. We didn't feel the tugging on the pants leg after that. Not at all.
Good. Good. A jail is not a place a child should be.
Yeah. I do believe Roxana is still there.
Okay.
We've had a lot of interactions with multiple investigators, and we have some. I think we have an EVP too, of a woman talking, but we couldn't quite make out what she was saying.
Okay. Interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I was really sad to miss that one.
Yeah, and and like I said, a lot
Yeah.
of it is still as it was. Some of it's been when they renovated it, they had to take out some of the bars and knock the walls back a little bit.
Okay.
Um, yeah.
Wow. Interesting. So, yeah, Logan, you said that you've done some research, I know, on Alcatraz, but have you researched any other penitentiaries?
Oh, yes. Yes, I have.
Awesome. I can't wait to hear it.
Well, let's start with Eastern State Penitentiary.
Okay, where is that located?
That is an excellent question. I haven't gone that deep into the research. This is just
Is
a
that
list that I've pulled up,
is
and I
that the
looked up
one
the
in
ones that
Pennsylvania?
interest me.
I think.
It's in Philadelphia.
Okay.
Uh,
I know they
with
do yearly tours there, or because a friend of mine wanted to go down there. That's the only reason why I know about it.
oh yes, they do have tour options listed, but seeing
Mm-hmm.
that it was built in 1829,
Mm-hmm.
then that definitely fits your
Yeah.
category of old prisons.
Yeah.
And with
For
the
sure.
cramped construction style that they used at the time for prisons, combined
Yes.
with their famously unkind treatment of prisoners, makes for a perfect storm of hauntings.
It really does.
Yeah.
And yeah, and then especially if they have they were either getting hung there or they had the electric chair there, so now you have death um, going on at the same time, or they died because of the conditions. It is a perfect storm. I think that's the best description I've heard yet.
What else did you find out about it, Logan?
I just lost my place on the page. Let's see. Prisoners were usually kept in total isolation, forbidden to talk to any living soul, often
Mm.
beaten if they uttered so much as a word.
Psychological and physical torture.
Yeah.
You eat and sleep alone in a windowless room. Suicide rate was like 30%.
Oh, yeah, I'm sure.
Yeah. I'm surprised it wasn't higher.
Yeah, honestly, I wouldn't be shocked if it was, flip a coin.
Yeah.
That's
They were brutal even for early 1800 standards. Chaining an inmate's tongue to his wrist, for one example. The solitary confinement went on until 1913, when overcrowding forced the administration to abandon the prison. And then it finally closed in 1970.
Wow. Hi, Richard. Welcome. Richard joined us. He's a paranormal investigator.
welcome aboard.
Yeah.
Hey, how's it going, Richard?
Welcome to the club.
Yes,
Glad you're here, Richard. Wow. The way that, I mean, it's like, and I know it's prisons all over the world. It's not just in the US, but yeah, I mean, I'm sad that they have to exist, but I know that in many cases we need places like that. And, but to be able to go in afterwards, like I did a tour, it was a public tour actually, of a prison in West Bend, Wisconsin, that they do occasional, like you can buy a ticket and go on a tour type thing. And man, the energy in there was crazy. There was a women's ward, there was, the men's ward. There was a place where if a woman had a baby in prison, they had cribs for
Oh,
the
wow.
for the baby.
Wow.
And the energy in there was crazy, especially in the women's part. There was like one room, like one jail cell for women, and had like 2 sets of bunk beds in it. And
Yeah.
um,
Yeah,
but
the bunks were still there in the other jail too. And
yeah,
you shared a cell that you could, maybe 6 feet wide. And you
yeah.
had 2 bunks on either side.
Yeah,
Um,
it was crazy tiny. I don't know, the warden and the family lived right there in the same building. The warden's wife did the cooking for all of the prisoners and the staff. And so, yeah, I mean, they've obviously cleaned it up a lot because they're not going to just let the general public walk through a place. It's, like you were
Right.
describing with the Herkimer jail. But yeah, there was a lot of activity there. And there was this weird thing. Okay, so it was like August, and I was wearing what do they call those pants that go right below the knees? But they have bright like Hawaiian flowers on them. And this other woman who was on the tour with us, her phone kept taking pictures of my pants. Like she would aim the phone somewhere else and a picture of my pants would show up in the picture, even if I was like way over there and nowhere near where she was aiming the camera.
That's
Somebody
weird.
was fascinated with your pants.
Somebody was fascinated with my flowered pants. It was the weirdest thing. And she's just like, we laughed about that for months. She was just like, I can't even believe this. Why do I
That
have so
is that is pretty funny to get fashion compliments from beyond the grave.
right? Like, what is that woman wearing? Get her out of here.
Well, think about it. There's suddenly bright colors in the jail cell, and everybody's going to take notice.
Right.
Right.
Because that is not a bright, cheerful place.
That's far from the most
jails
brutal
aren't.
prison on the list that I found.
Oh boy.
At least this prison has a roof.
Oh,
Yeah, Robin, you're right. That's crazy fun. It was crazy fun. But okay, continue, Logan. Now you've got my attention. No roof.
Well, I'm gonna get to that one, but next on my list is Preston Castle, which is found in Ione, California.
Okay.
It was sort of a juvenile penitentiary, but with the style of boarding schools at the time, it was not uncommon for corporal punishment to get out of hand.
Right.
yes.
Um,
Yes.
The red brick structures, remarkable sight alone. Blah, blah, blah. Aesthetics aside, the prison has had its own share of mysterious deaths. The most famous of which is that of the housekeeper Anna Corbin. The staff found her beaten to death and shoved inside of a locked room in the castle. Until now, her death remains. I'm guessing it means even now her death remains unsolved, because it doesn't really provide any context after that.
Oh, wow. That's gruesome.
Also,
Yeah.
apparently, there used to be a cemetery on the grounds, but it was desecrated beyond repair.
Oh, that's sad.
That is.
It
sad.
is.
I agree.
That is
Also providing ample opportunity for hauntings.
yes, it does.
You're
Yeah.
destroying graves. Someone's gonna take notice.
Yes, they are. Yeah.
That's how haunted forests happen, you know, and haunted houses, because you're sitting on top of a grave. Hey, surprise.
Sometimes, yeah. Well, you have to think, I mean, throughout the history of the existence of a species that buries their dead, you have to figure somebody is buried pretty much everywhere, right?
Yeah.
At some
Yeah.
point.
And I
Yeah.
don't know about where you are, but up here it was not uncommon because there were so many farms. You'd have family plots on the
farms,
on
yep.
the farm itself, and they didn't necessarily put a stone up. They would just put a wooden cross.
Right.
And the family always knew where the graves were. But once they die off and the property gets sold, and if it's not written down, suddenly somebody's decided they're going to be putting up a shed over here in the corner, and they dig up a body.
Right.
Surprise.
And then the sheriff gets called, and then the coroner gets called, and then they find out that the body is 200 years old. And yep.
So much for a simple building.
Right. Exactly.
That happens up here quite often.
Well, my grandfather, even outside of Chicago, when he built his house, he literally like dug out the basement with a shovel, and he's getting like all kinds of artifacts, like arrowheads and
Oh, wow.
and yeah, just kind of. But there weren't any laws about it at that time.
Did he keep all that?
He kept some of it, yeah, and some of it I think he just lost over the years. But yeah, he kept a lot of it.
Wow.
Yeah.
Talk about your residual energy.
Oh yeah, that was a very haunted house, believe me. Yeah. Very haunted house. Yep.
I'm sure.
I spent a lot of time in that house. That was a very haunted house as a kid and as an adult. And yeah,
that will do it.
There's a lot going on there, but it was not a prison. So Logan, you're up.
Well, this one is actually a police station.
Oh, okay.
In its heyday, Maxwell Police Station was famed for its corrupt police officers. They reportedly took inmates to the prison's basement, which also served as a torture chamber of sorts. Many of those who went in never made it back outside, thus earning the station the nickname Bloody Maxwell.
Oh.
Today, visitors have claimed to hear hair-raising screams from the basement. They also hear weeping and moaning sounds, along with the classic rattling chains.
Wow.
Wow.
I'm not sure if that police station is still in service. But it looks like it is.
Oh, wow.
Interesting. I just realized the time
it was built. Sound.
Yeah.
Oh, it is about time for the break.
Yeah.
We had difficulty narrowing down where the sound was coming from because it would carry all the way through.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
And so we were purposely setting ourselves up on different floors. But we could still hear one another. So we had to be really careful being on opposite ends of the building, because some of our EVPs we just had to throw out because we could hear the other investigators talking. Well, that's not going to do any good.
Right.
And we normally stay in contact via radios. Well, our radios, once we got between the cement floors and the limestone, radios weren't working either. So I got set aside.
Right. We're going to take a quick break, and we're going to come back and talk about some more haunted penitentiaries and prisons and jails. And if anyone has a story that they'd like to share, please feel free to pop it into the comments while we take our commercial break.
Want To keep up with the latest at the station? How about catch up on your favorite shows on the go? Download the free WLTK-DB mobile app on the App Store and Google Play. Watch, listen, and shop right from the palm of your hand. The WLTK-DB mobile app. The truth is here and now. Get yours today.
All right, we are back. It is 36 minutes past the hour. You are in the Paranormal Room with myself, Christina Bloom, Logan Jacobson, who is like our research rock star, and and Susie, who is joining us with the Adirondack Park Paranormal Society, and we are talking about penitentiaries, prisons, jails that are haunted. So if you have any questions, please pop them in there. I want to get to Keith's first because he has this great question here. So he says, so aren't prisons by definition about limiting movement or doing the limiting? I suppose wardens haunt places too, but is anyone surprised that spirits are limited in the movement as well?
Especially if they're residual, yes.
Yeah.
That would make absolute sense because they don't know anything else but what they've been doing day after day after day after
day after day. Yeah.
So
much in the way that trauma affects the living, it also affects us in death.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
Yeah. Certain parts of it will stay with you.
Yeah. Have you ever run into like staff though? Like wardens or guards or
when we were doing we did some dowsing rod sessions down in the where basically where they would be checked in. We believe we were talking with one of the either the guards or one of the wardens.
Okay.
And while we were across, there's a hallway, and across from there was the kitchen. And while we were talking and having a conversation via the divining rods, we could hear a woman talking. So we're thinking she was staff and or she was the wife of the sheriff. We never could get that narrowed down because every time we came in, she would stop talking. We'd leave, we could hear her. Because we were all in one room, so it wasn't any of us. But we could hear a female talking. So we'd walk back in, and it would quiet die down. We knew it had something to do with that kitchen area. You could feel something, like you had the fireplace here, and then there was a short set of stairs next to it, and it walked into a little tiny room. Maybe it was where the where they kept the supplies and such, the cooking, the food, and the dry goods. That's what I'm looking for.
Okay. Wow. Yeah, I always find it interesting when as a psychic myself, when I can hear something going on and I go towards it and then it stops and I'm like, I'm listening. Come on. And
it's almost like trying to find a cricket.
Yeah,
get close
pretty
and they
much.
Stop.
Well, it's also because when you go in, you don't know if you're dealing with intelligent or a residual,
right?
And so you want to gain that trust. So you don't want to push too hard, but at the same time, you want to let them know we're here to. If you have a story to tell, you need somebody to talk to, and we almost got the feeling, not almost, multiple people got the same feeling, that she was afraid of whoever was in the check-in area.
Okay.
And so when he was talking, she was almost like she was responding, but was afraid to respond. Okay. So there was a couple of us that came in. We took pictures, didn't have anything on the cameras. But again, is it residual? is it her just letting people know? And they still had the dumbwaiter in there too.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, they're restoring it, but at the same time they're keeping what's there as it was.
Yeah. Wow. That's interesting.
Yeah.
Cool.
Well, speaking of historical buildings, I
Yes.
have during the break I did a little more research on Maxwell Street Police Station in Chicago. It is no longer used as a police station. It was dissolved in 1998 and is now used as part of the University of Illinois.
In which department, I'm afraid to ask.
I don't know, but
Yeah.
if it's criminal justice, I'm gonna laugh.
Well, that'd be a perfect place for it, though.
Right?
Or offices. Yeah, that would be a place to stay there late at night.
Yeah,
I have
admin.
actually, I knew it sounded familiar, and I've actually driven past that building, and I just get a cold chill up my spine every time I drive past that building.
Apparently, television buffs will also recognize it from its iconic, quote unquote, iconic use in the establishing shots of the intro and outro of Hill Street Blues.
Oh, okay. That was
Yeah.
my mother and father's staple. You didn't talk during that show. It was on. If you wanted to be in the room, you had to watch the show.
Yes.
That's how my grandparents are about Law and Order or golf.
Yeah. Oh, wow.
That's my husband. Yeah.
Like, it's golf. Number one, I'm not there, so I'm not going to interrupt them. Number two, you're not going to miss anything with me talking.
Oh yes, yes you will, because there's nothing you can. No, I'm not gonna get started.
It really requires 100% of your concentration.
It
It's a
does.
truly cerebral game.
Logan, can you see the comments?
I can, yes.
Can you read Keith's last comment? Because I can't pronounce some of that.
In Kilmainham, Gaul, Dublin, they weren't even allowed to talk. A lot went crazy. Didn't hear anything. Wasn't open then. But certainly saw a decent amount of orbs.
Sweet.
Yeah.
An old Scottish prison.
Yeah.
Irish, I think.
Irish. No, that's right. It's Dublin.
Yeah,
Oh.
Irish.
Yep.
I'm just glad I didn't say that on the internet. That'd be embarrassing.
Yeah. You're on the internet, by the way.
Ah, shit.
Anyway, yeah, I have actually seen, Keith has showed me some of those pictures, and yeah, it was just a lot of movement there, like a lot of spirit movement there. Even in still shots, I could see it. That was Kilmainham. Kilmainham. Wow.
A little Irish brogue thrown in there.
Yeah. I'm out of practice on my brogue. I used to be really good at it. All right, Logan, what else do you have for us? We just did Maxwell Police Station in Chicago.
And I think we have just enough time to talk about the total quagmire that is the Old West Prison, Yuma Territorial Prison.
Okay, I'm listening.
Let's see.
Arizona?
I'm trying to find the page that I had.
Yeah, I would
tagged
guess
for it.
Arizona. I think that's where Yuma is, right?
Yes, it is in Arizona.
Okay.
Former prison located in Yuma, Arizona. Opened July 1876. Shut down September 1909.
How bad did it have to be shut down in 1909?
That's what I'm saying.
Wow.
It held a fair amount of notable Old West outlaws, but I don't really recognize a whole lot of them. Bill Downing, I recognize as a train robber, but I'm not super versed on the Old West.
Interesting.
But apparently, the aisles between cells were just open to the sky, and there were openings at the top of the cells for guards to look in.
Oh,
So
That's
you
the
were
one.
just
Okay.
kind of exposed to the elements.
Yeah, and in
wow.
Arizona, that's like a whole lot of heat and direct sunlight.
Oh yeah. No,
Trapped in a
Scorp
box.
and
that's
scorpions
And
and
scorpion.
snakes.
scorpions, rats, bedbugs, roaches.
Ugh.
All of these afflicted inmates at Yuma Territorial Prison. The pictures from here, 6 prisoners in an 8 by 10 cell.
Oh, wow.
Oh no, I'm sorry, 12 prisoners.
Oh, well, that makes all the difference in the world.
Oh my God. Just imagine the smell in one cell. Ugh.
See, that's probably why they kept it open air.
Well, yeah, but
I'm
then,
sorry.
then they put a heat lamp on it. So what good did that do?
I mean, that'll blow away with the wind too. That's fine.
Oh my gosh.
Dysentery and you name it. Yeah, one guy got sick, they all got sick.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
most ended up dying of tuberculosis.
That does
Isn't
not
that
surprise
interesting?
me. Yeah.
I mean, it's
Well,
that's like Oregon Trail on ultra hard difficulty.
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Where everybody
and
dies of dysentery.
Oh, here's a fun fact. Shortly after it was closed, it was used by the Yuma Union High School.
For what?
Why?
They occupied buildings from 1910 to 1914, when the school's football team played against Phoenix and unexpectedly won. The Phoenix team called the Yuma team criminals for using the prison as as official school building.
Oh my God.
Wow.
Yeah, wow.
Hey, this place was recently shut down by the government for being too cruel to criminals. Should we put high schoolers in here? Yeah, screw them.
Wow.
Sure, let's traumatize them early before they get out in the community and see how they do.
Send the football team. They need to toughen up.
God.
That's insane.
awful.
That is
Yep.
insane.
It really is. It's no wonder you watch those old West films and people are willing to get into shootouts rather than go to Yuma prison.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I'd take a bullet, very thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh my God. I mean, it was from what you're reading, it sounds like it was practically a death sentence to be sent there anyways.
It's not looking like there was a lot of successful reformations there, I gotta say.
Yeah,
No,
so
because
you
he'd have to
know-
live long enough to have that happen.
And
Yeah,
that kind of
no
word got out
kidding.
pretty quick.
Yeah. Yeah. Wow. Logan, Keith has a question for you.
Oh yes. Heard of rotating prisons? I have not. That I'm gonna go ahead and look that up now that you've mentioned it.
Yeah, that sounds interesting. Rotating prisons. Now, is that
where
like
they-
the building rotates or they move prisoners from one to another to another to another to another?
The Rotary Jail was an architectural design for some prisons in the Midwestern United States during the late 19th century. Cells in the jails were wedges on a platform that rotated in a carousel fashion. The surrounding of the entire level had a single opening, allowing only one cell at a time to be accessible. So it was like a vending machine for humans.
That's a nice way of putting it.
It's Carvana for your prisoners.
So it was literally solitary confinement until they got to your door?
Yeah, unless you were the one lucky enough to be on the outside, like, aha, I get the outside today.
Wow.
That's crazy.
Yeah, that's what Keith just said. Cells
Yeah.
rotate in regard to the outside.
That's a special kind of evil.
It is. Oh my gosh.
Now here's a thought for you.
Yeah.
So we're talking about the prisoners and we're talking about the people that work there.
Mhm.
What about the designers?
Yeah, who designed these horrible places?
The Rotary Jail was initially designed by architect William H. Brown. Go figure.
I mean, they've got to be a special kind of nut.
Yeah.
Oh, yes. Invented
Arms.
in 1881.
He said lots of arms were lost. I bet.
Yeah,
Yes.
in the
Reached in at the
rotating.
wrong time.
Yes,
Sorry.
they were condemned in 1939 for numerous problems after installation, including the limbs of inmates and guards being crushed.
Oh my gosh.
You know, I mean, I know that we're supposed to
Yeah.
keep talking and not have dead air, but oh my God, I'm speechless.
Yeah, no,
I know, I'm
it's
just-
incredible for how long that was allowed to be a thing.
My
Yeah.
brain is literally going there, and there's, you talk about synapses.
That's almost
Yeah.
a 70-year period where those were allowed to be a thing.
That's nuts. Oh my God. Like, serious. Wow. Okay, so you have the name of the architect, right?
Yes.
Could we do a little research on him? Because what's wrong with this guy?
Well, I'm pretty sure he's also a weapons manufacturer, so
Oh, as in Brown Firearms?
yes, I believe so.
Ah. Wow. We're all silent again.
He
Sorry,
was
it
19th
just-
century American shipbuilder, well known for building the fast and seaworthy yachts, paddle steamers, and steamboats.
So
And he came up with this torturous rotating prison thing.
I guess.
Wow. That's nuts. Wow, that's crazy. Like, he said it's all about restriction. Yeah, it's all about restriction, but seriously, what kind of a brain comes up with that?
Yeah, I bet there are lots of spirits there.
Yeah.
You know-
Standing outside the building, it would radiate.
When you have an inventive mind and a list of the list of problems that need to be solved in your view is dwindling, you come up with some weird things.
Yeah. So no qualms to begin with. Robin says it all takes my breath away. I can't believe that shit. Me neither. Wow, like this is crazy. Yeah.
Well, with him
You know-
inventing not inventing, but designing paddle steamers, he's already well familiar with advanced mechanisms. So
That's true. That's true.
That's great, but
Yeah.
that's still. I mean,
Well, look at it this way:
Yeah,
the inventor of dynamite felt so bad about it, he invented the Nobel Peace Prize. So,
Oh my God.
Logan's just full of very exciting information tonight. I'm telling
He
you.
is. Logan is the master of research. I am telling you.
And meanwhile, yeah.
Yeah. Keith says, I have succeeded in freaking you all out. Yes, you have.
Yes, you did. You did.
Yes,
'cause
you
this
have.
is going to stay with me.
you have
Yeah,
brought me a
I-
freaky invention, Keith. You have done well.
Well, I'll be researching it later on.
Robin, yeah. Thank you. Nobody's
you know,
sleeping
now-
tonight. Just saying.
I'll have to share this with my husband, and he'll be just sitting there going, "What? What were you talking about?"
You know, this may be me reaching for threads, but I think that rotational prison may have been the inspiration for like those rotational secret passages in old movies. Like you pull a sconce on the wall near the fireplace, and the whole fireplace
Well,
rotates around.
As far as that goes, I mean, you're talking European castles, and they were doing that quite a while ago. But I mean, we're talking 1400s.
Right.
Yeah.
They, but not for prisons per se.
Wow.
And obviously the control wasn't there, or maybe it was too fast, and that's how people got their legs and arms cut off.
Or they couldn't slow it down because it was too much weight.
Maybe I don't know, Or
I
maybe
mean, we're talking about building materials here. That's not light.
I mean, you are talking about prisoners, so it's possible that some may have attempted to use that rotational mass as sort of an automated weapon.
No, yeah, I
Well, like
suppose.
at the last second, you grab the guard's arm and pull it.
Ah,
Could have gone both ways, actually.
Yeah, it
I was
could
gonna
really
say,
could have
yeah.
gone both ways.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The hiding door in the library. That's what Logan was referring to. Or, hidden
Yes.
door. And, like Robin says, too many glitches, too many chances for failure. But, we are talking about, with the prisoners back then, it's like, it's a lot harder actually to be put in prison now than it was then.
Oh yeah.
I mean, you could, your neighbor said they stole something or, whatever. You didn't have to prove it. They just went right to prison.
Oh yes.
It's, yeah. That just, I mean, like, I've just got like chills running through me.
That is going to stay with me for the rest of the night and the next couple of days. I'll be thinking about it while I'm at work tomorrow. Thank you, Logan.
Glad to help.
I can think of a chat room this is going into.
Well, actually, do we have Keith to thank or do we have...
We have Keith to thank for this one, yes.
Okay.
Keith is the one who brought it up. I just elaborated on the subject.
Yeah, you did the research. You researched it further, but yeah. We can just blame Keith for this one. Thanks, Keith.
He fed Logan's curiosity is what he did.
Yes, he did. Yes, he did. All right. You know what? We need a topic for next week. What do you guys think? Topic for next week? Chat or live on the air, whatever. What are we thinking here? Logan, do you have that list I sent you? Oh, I have the list.
Haha.
Aha. Let's see. I want to talk about let's see. Ouija board experiences. How's that one sound?
Ooh.
Keith, my work here is done. Oh my goodness.
You can go to sleep happy tonight, Keith.
We can combine Ouija board experiences with weird psychic readings.
Oh.
Because sometimes I have heard people come to me for reading and go, this psychic told me once, and just weird stuff. So
I was going to say, you must hear some pretty incredible things.
Yeah, it's always interesting. Logan just messaged me connection issues. Well, we are at the end of the show, so we can just say thank you very much. I want everyone to be here next week with their weird experiences with either Ouija boards or just weird psychic readings that you've gotten. And I don't know if like, I hate to even put this out there, but like maybe not so good psychic readings people may have gotten. I don't know if I want to put that one out there, but yeah, weird psychic readings and Ouija board experiences, because I've heard a lot of both of those over the years.
There's it's a tool like anything else. If used improperly.
Yep.
You can have some good experience and you can have some negative experience.
Yep, for sure.
Young college student that's trying to experiment.
Logan went to the private chat and said, yes, the Luigi board experience.
Oh my God. I will never look at a Ouija board the same.
No, I'm going to see this little guy in a green hat bouncing around.
I was going to say, I will hear it and I will end up saying it out loud in a public forum somewhere. Guarantee you.
And you know who you can pin that one on. So
I will. I will. I will.
I know you will. Yeah, I know you will. All right, everybody, thank you so much for joining us. I know it was kind of a weird, creepy show. So
thanks, Robin. Thanks, Keith.
But we could always have one You could use one during the show. I could use a board during the show, but then I would have to drive over to Keith's house and get it. So he has a really nice one, though. I have to say, like, his is actually a wooden talking board. It is not the Ouija name, which is actually a brand name for a talking board. So, hey.
We found one in the house, or my parents found one in the house. It was before I was born.
Oh, wow.
When they bought this house.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
We still have it.
Yeah. Logan says, I'm going to make a Luigi board now. He's the woodworker.
I want to see it when you're done.
Yes, yes. We all want to see it when you're done.
Most definitely.
Yeah. Well, thank you, everyone in the chat. Thank you, Susie, for being with us again. Thank you, Logan, for all the research that you have done to make this show come alive. I know research is your thing and you like doing it. Lasagna. Keith doesn't know about video games, apparently. So anyway, thank you all very much, and we will see you back here next week in the Paranormal Room.
The truth is here and now on WLTK-DB Talk Radio at WLTK-DB.com.